Hi friends, in the today's current affair lecture, I'll try to discuss an international relation topic called Indo-Pacific. Actually, this is the term which you come across in the newspaper almost regularly. And what is this Indo-Pacific? How the term Indo-Pacific evolved? What does exactly it means? What are the different players now they are playing in the Indo-Pacific region? What are the interests of India in this Indo-Pacific, and what are the interests of United States of America? What is a Quad grouping, and what is the relation between Quad to this Indo-Pacific? What is the concept of net security provider, and what is the relevance of that concept in the Indo-Pacific? Those things we'll try to discuss in this video. And I think on the 12th, both Quad group, that means United States of America, India, Australia and Japan, these countries heads are going to meet virtually. And already after Biden taking the taking into the charge of administration, Prime Minister of India has already spoken, and there was a news like Biden has promised to enhance this concept of Indo-Pacific. So now this Indo-Pacific has become irrelevant in the world affairs, because the total geopolitics are shifting from west to east. And why geopolitics are shifting from west to east? It is because of the dominant player China. So now even United States of America want to maintain its own relations and wanted its own presence and try to maintain its own geopolitics in the Indo-Pacific region. So that is the reason why this term and this entire field of study is getting a lot of salience in this present day politics or present day economics of the world affairs. So now I'll try to start with Indo-Pacific, and after that I'll go to the net security provider, and after that I'll come to Quad and what are the challenges that India is having in this region and what are the opportunities that India is having in this region. Okay. So what exactly this Indo-Pacific means? Acceptance of the Indo-Pacific as a single strategic construct linking the contiguous waters of the Western Pacific and Indian Ocean. So earlier there was no clear concept like this Indo-Pacific. Earlier we used to have a concept called Asia-Pacific, but the concept of Asia-Pacific was very limited, and that too when it comes to the Asia-Pacific, it used to focus on China, Japan, okay, some sort of Korea and India, only these countries, and that Asia-Pacific has neglected this Southeast Asian, and at that time there is no much understanding about this Asia, this entire region. But over a period of time, they are trying to studying the contiguous waters, that means the waters of Indian Ocean and the waters of Pacific Ocean. Now we understood the importance of this, and we wanted to relate this entire region with these two waters, so that is Indo-Pacific. So Indo-Pacific means not India-Pacific, but it is Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean. So it's a combination of two oceans, and we need to take this entire region as a whole, and we need to maintain the relations, whether it is political, whether it is economic, whether it is defense, security or any other relations, we need to maintain. So this is the meaning of Indo-Pacific. And here when actually this term came into use, the term Indo-Pacific, and why we are actually coming together, I'll come to that, but I'll just give the history. See, this term was not a new one. This term was used in since 1920s. A German writer has used this term, like using this Pacific and Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean, and try to study the relations overall. But it has gained salience only after 2011. Though the term was not a new thing, but the term Indo-Pacific has gained lot of salience only after 2011 because of the changing geopolitics in this region, because the importance of this region is increasing. Why the importance of this region is increasing? Because the countries started developing more in this region. Countries and this waters has become major trade routes. Lot of trade is happening in these routes, and these countries started ascertaining more politically, more security point of view, and also the technology point of view. Politically they are trying to get their influence in the other countries. So lot of things has happened, and that is the reason why the salience for Indo-Pacific term has improved after 2011. But when it comes to India, in the year 2007, when Shinzo Abe, the then Prime Minister of the Japan, when he addressed the Indian Parliament, he emphasized on this point. What is that point? In his parliamentary speech in the August 2007, he talked about the confluence of Indian and Pacific Ocean. He talked in the Indian Parliament, but at that point of time in the year 2007, there is no much relevance and we haven't focused on that. But the first time it was discussed in the Indian Parliament by the, not by the Indian, but by the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. After that, as the globalization has increased, globalization effect is there because we wanted to connect with everyone, and also our trade dependencies is increasing. The global supply chains become so strong because you cannot say like, okay, from raw material to the entire deal, everything should be happen only in India. That is not the strategy that we have followed. See, the global supply chains are becoming more so stronger, and also the maritime security has become an important thing because a lot of trade is happening through these waters, and the waters, that means the territorial waters, has become main important thing because some of the piracy and security threats and dominance of the oceans, these phenomena came into existence. So we understood the importance of this maritime security, and these all the things, the economic opportunities, trade opportunities, or the global supply chains and maritime securities, what they have done is these have actually blurred the physical boundaries. These effects have blurred the physical boundaries. That means it has necessitated for us to cooperate with all other countries, especially in this maritime, because we are doing that on the other front, because when globalization started in 1995, we have done to some extent, but when we understood the importance of this maritime and its relevance, we started actually blurring the boundaries between our countries in our waters. And that water, earlier we used to focus only on our own region, that means this is our region, our own region, but we wanted to extend this relation to the entire region also. So that is how our idea started, because of the opportunities brought by the globalization and also the relevance of maritime, because this is important for trade, this is important for politics, this is important mostly for our security concern. And lot of now ocean the demand for ocean resources are increasing a lot day by day. So that is why we have started focusing on this Indo-Pacific. Now Indo-Pacific means it is a different, and it is not by the India alone. The same term Indo-Pacific was spoken by India, later by the Japan, by the Korea, by the Australia, by the United States, everyone is speaking. But it is different from country to country. The perception of India is different from that of the US, and that of the and different that of the Japan, and different that of the Australia. When it comes to India, I'll try to discuss, and I'll try to discuss the United States of America's what exactly Indo-Pacific is about. So what does it mean for India? So if I say Indo-Pacific, what does it mean? And for India, it is something like inclusiveness. Inclusiveness means everyone should be included. The countries who are there in this, everyone should be included. That is what inclusiveness of India. And second one is openness. That means the access must be open to everyone. There should not be any restriction on this. There are international laws that promote openness, but at the same time, our idea is it should be inclusive and it should be openness. Openness in the sense, open in this international waters. Anyone or everyone can move freely in this. No one should stop. In the internet, if it is territorial water, there is a different story is there, because you need to take permissions and all. But apart from that, in the international waters, everyone has a freedom to navigate. That is openness. When it comes to the third one, it is Asian centric. Asian countries should be centric to these things. So these are the Asian group, okay, 10 countries group. So Asian should be the center. And India's another policy is the fourth one, very important. It is not directed to any country. So we are promoting this group not against any country. Perhaps we are promoting inclusiveness. We are promoting inclusiveness and we wanted openness, and Asian should be centric. This is what when we have promoted. And here when it comes to the trade and other opportunities, but apart from trade, now our objectives are improved, like connectivity. Now the counter terrorism, because these are the new things now they are added, because you need to curb the terrorism in this country, in the entire region with the help of these countries. And also anyhow I told like maritime security, but the importance of maritime security is now gaining more and more. And the cyber issues, this is another more important cyber issues. So these things also must be added to this, and we always promote there must be a rule based order in this region. That means what are the things that we are doing? We must follow the rules, and everyone must follow the rules. If someone is not abiding with the rules, then that should not be the case. So we have to promote this rule based order. We have to take any action on those countries which are not following this entire rule based orders. So in that manner we have started our understanding of Asia Pacific into Indo-Pacific. And when we initially started, our process has started initially with the Look East, and after that Look East we started focusing on ASEAN. Initially we started focusing on Japan, Korea, but after that now we have entered into a comprehensive idea of entire this Pacific Ocean and Indian Ocean. Now we are joining our relations, our regional relations with the other multilateral relations with the other countries or the other region, and finally we are now looking into this Indo-Pacific. Now this Indo-Pacific, how India is really focusing on this Indo-Pacific now. Okay, I explained you what are the importance of these things and all. Now India wanted to be a net security provider in the region. So what does it mean? See, net security provider means India is securing its own country and its own territorial waters, but apart from that it want to provide the security to others also. That means in its neighbor. That means India want to provide the security to Maldives and to Sri Lanka and some of the Bangladesh, Thailand, like Seychelles. So this is what they wanted to do. So India want to be a net security provider in this region. That means it is not only protecting its own, but it also want to protect the others. How they will protect? They will protect through supplying of arms and ammunitions, or second one through any security assistance if needed, and also the exercises, that means the naval or any military exercises, and also maintaining some strategic relations, and also some humanitarian assistance. Suppose if any disasters are happened, and try to improve their capacity building in case of any disasters, because India is having its own NDRF forces and National Disaster Management Authority, and all these are there. So you can provide to those countries. So that means India wanted to give some sort of security to its neighbors, and for that India will cooperate with these countries on these fronts, and sometimes we will provide some sort of grant, that means some sort of financial assistance to those things, those countries. So this is how we wanted to be a net security provider in this region. And do we want to confine only to the South Asian region, or we wanted to connect with other countries like the case of Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia? So we wanted to extend to these region also, because we have already started providing some sort of arms and ammunition, and we are having a good agreement with this country called Vietnam. That means we wanted to expand our reach to these areas also. If at all you want to reach, what you need to do? You need to do all these things with the other countries also. We need to go for exercises, and we are conducting the exercises, but our relations as far as the defense we must strengthen. And when it comes to the net security provider, it's not only about normal thing, but it is also about the cyber security, and it is also about counter terrorism, and it's also about this human trafficking, and it's also about this narcotics trade, and it is also about the fake currency. So these are all comes under the security, and you need to maintain that relations with the other. And even recently also Indian government is continuously reiterating India wanted to be a net security provider. But does India wanted to be a net security provider in its own region or in the entire? That is not clear, but India wanted to be a net security provider, and sometimes India is maintaining relations with these other countries also. So as a net security provider, India wanted to secure its own territories here, and also it want to secure its coastal line, and also the United States of America wanted to extend us in this region. So that is the reason why America is coming to our help, and that is why our trade relations and our defense and security relations are improving. So it is both important for us, it is both important for India to secure its own borders and its own waters, and at the same time its America's interests are also involved in this. So that is the reason why we are closing so together. Now in this time, there was a new group called Quad is coming into existence. So what exactly this Quad, what are the countries of Quad, how the Quad is related to this, and when this was actually started, what is the relevance between Quad and net security provider, and also Quad and with respect to this Indo-Pacific. So I'll try to discuss the Quad now. So Quad is nothing but it is a quadrilateral group. It's a quadrilateral security dialogue, and when this was started, it was started as a security dialogue, but now it is changing into another dimension, like means there is a scope, it can become a trade thing, it can be a trade block, or it can be a responsible international player, international block. That is how becoming, because recently I think yesterday itself the Quad first virtual meeting happened. And what are these Quad countries? Actually the Quad countries of United States of America, Japan, Australia and India. So this is a group of 4 countries. So now I'll explain the relevance of this group in the context of Indo-Pacific and security provider, but this is a Quad group. How actually this quadrilateral security dialogue or quadrilateral group has started? See, it has its own genesis in the year 2004. In the year 2004, when tsunami devastated entire Indian Ocean countries, actually these 4 countries are decided to coordinate their response towards this. So that is how actually these 4 countries have started together. Now they launched an ad hoc operation. It's not something like a grouping or something, but they launched an ad hoc operation to provide relief, but engagement was only limited. So it was only related to with respect to that relief provision, and there was an ad hoc group and they have provided that too. It is very limited. Now in the year 2007, there was an ASEAN regional forum happened at Philippines, and when it happened in Philippines, in that Philippines, the heads of India, Japan and Australia. So the heads of these 3 people met with the Vice President of United States of America in the year 2007. They met. That means some sort of grouping has happened here. Actually this what we call exactly, this is the first summit of Quad. No, generally formally we cannot say like this is the first summit, but the genesis happened here, and that too there is a significance to this 2007. So what is that significance? Generally from 1992 onwards, United States of America and India is doing its naval exercise that we call it as Malabar exercise, Indo-US naval exercise. And in the year 2007, we have extended the membership to both Australia and Singapore, and Australia, Singapore participated in this naval exercise along with India. Now by looking into these developments, like India, Japan and Australia is meeting with America, and in Indo-American naval exercise Australia started participating. Then China did not like this. it exerted some sort of pressure and it urged the United States of America to drop its Cold War mentality. That's what the word they used. That means supporting some countries and to bring some sort of polarity in that region. So this is what the Cold War mentality, and China has urged the America to stop its Cold War mentality. So then Australia has withdrawn from that and there was no grouping, and from 2007 onwards to 2017 this Quad group is in dormant stage. No one has talked about this Quad group, so no one is have any idea about this Quad, that is in dormant condition. Now in the year 2013 the China, that means the Xi Jinping has started its idea called the One Belt One Road OBOR project, or we can call it as Belt and Road Initiative. So with this Belt and Road Initiative, China started constructing a both belt, that means a sea route and as well as the land route. Land route through the roads, through the railways, and sea routes through the belts and through military bases, and also constructing some of the ports. Like China wanted to exercise its own control in both land and in both waters. So that is how China has started its project in the year 2013. The idea was started in the year 2013. By the time of 2017, China started exercising its own dominance in a wider manner. Suppose if you take the case of the Japan, there was an issue with the Senkaku Islands, that is China is claiming their own China is claiming the waters of East China. We can call it as East Sea also. So they are claiming something, and at the same time you are aware about this 9-dash line. This 9-dash line is something in the South China Sea. So actually when China is claiming the territory, the same Vietnam, the Philippines and the other countries are also ascertaining their own territorial claims here, but China is saying no, it is my territory, and China is creating artificial islands and claiming 12 nautical miles around these islands, and this case went to the International Court of Arbitration, like International Court in The Hague, and the Hague judgment was given in opposition to the China. They are in support of other countries, but China don't want to follow that, and China is claiming its own rights in the Indian Ocean. So China is entering into this Indian Ocean region and constructing the bases and also entering into this Indian waters, everything it is doing. So that means China's increasing assertiveness after 2013, assertiveness of China has increased. That is the first point, assertiveness. Second one is the China is expanding its maritime aggression. That means whatever the rise of China that is happening, it is not peaceful rise of China, but it is an aggressive rise of China. That is where it is concerning the other things, other countries. Third one is the bizarre territorial claims. So whatever the territorial claims that China is claiming, that is something wrong. So, okay. So these are the things that China is doing. And when China is asserting, when China is dominating its influence, when China is expanding, when China is going for territorial claim, now perhaps this is the right time for the countries in this region, that too a major players in this region. Anyhow, United States of America has its own interest as a global player, but the regional player which includes Australia, Japan and India, and they came together to promote the free and open India-Pacific. The free and open, that means the waters of Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean must be free for everyone. So these are the international waters. Everyone can go freely, everyone can move freely. No one can claim a unilateral rights over these waters. Okay, so that is what, because when China is easily coming here, but when some American vessels or some other vessels entering into this South China Sea or near to these Korean waters and near to Japanese things, so they are saying like, you are violating my territorial integrity. So it is not the question of who is violating whom, but there must be a free and open Indo-Pacific. So that is what they have started saying, free and open Indo-Pacific. So that means everyone should have that freedom to move, and there is international laws, United Nations Law of Convention of Seas, you call it as United Nations Convention of Law of Seas, UNCLOS. So this is an international agreement. Accordingly, international waters all belongs to everyone. Everyone have every right in having the navigation and free and open Pacific. This is what the idea that was promoted by the Quad. Now, and how this Quad is going to help, and we are came together as a regional group, and at the same time we wanted to maintain our relations with the other countries in this region. That means it is not only the east, it's not only the eastern part like Korea, Japan, Australia, but we also want to engagement with our Asians, and we wanted to see this Asian and the Asian countries and also Eastern countries as together, and we extend our relation to this portion. So India is interested in that, and America is also interested to maintain its role in this. And at the same time we are facing lot of problem with China on both frontier, on both land frontier side and also in waters, and there are some countries together which are also having some sort of concern with respect to China, and at the same time we wanted to be inclusive in this region. So it has necessitated all of us to come together, because you are getting some sort of defense assistance, and at the same time you are also getting some moral assistance. So that is why India has joined in this Quad group, and formally it was started in the year 2017. Initially there is no clarity on this Quad group, why actually doing, but China is considering this Quad as anti-China, but India is considering this Quad is part of Indo-Pacific. It is for inclusiveness. It includes everyone. It not only includes China, but it also includes China. So inclusiveness and also a rule based order. This is compulsory. No country unilaterally take any decision, and there must be freedom for waters, international water. There must be open Indo-Pacific. So with this actually India is saying this, but China is considering it as they are targeting against the China. That is what is their idea. That is what their idea of Quad. Now there was a virtual summit happened. And under this virtual summit now they are talking about many things like eradicating COVID-19, that means accessible to the vaccination, and also they are talking about climate change. Again they have re-emphasized on this free Indo-Pacific region. So now they are entering into some global issues, but we don't know exactly the clear mandate, but China is looking it as an anti-China, but to some extent United States of America is promoting that to contain the China in this region. So that is what we need to understand. Now this Quad will also provide some sort of leverage to India as far as net security provider is concerned, because suppose if you take in this region, at least India will maintain its dominance here. Maybe in this region Japan will do, maybe in this region Australia will do, but to some extent India will get a leverage to its concept of net security provider. At the same time it have a good it can maintain good relations with US, Australia and Japan, so that it can get some moral boost to contain China, because we are getting some sort of international support, and that too a close relation. So that is why this Quad is aiding India in advancing its net security provider concept and also in advancing its Indo-Pacific concept. Okay, so you have to be very clear why India is keen with this group. Now if you observe clearly the relation between the China and these countries, now take the case of China's relation with United States of America. Now they are maintaining trade dispute. There is a trade war happening with respect to the US. When it comes to the Japan, it is a territorial dispute. But when it comes to Australia, it is a diplomatic war that is happening. So with China, it is not only trade thing is also happening, trade disputes are also happening, but it is more about diplomatic war, because some spies from China is captured, and some spies of China was actually taken custody in Australia, and diplomatically, so there is a war that is happening. Okay, the relations are not so normal. And when it comes to India, yes, India is maintaining its own, it has its own concern on the trade, though we are maintaining high amount of trade, but still we are having our own concern, but at the same time our territorial disputes, the boundary disputes. I think we have seen last year, and I think in the year 2017 we have seen the Doklam, and last year this Galwan Valley and Pangong Tso Lake. So these are all the disputes, and hot spring Gogra, that Gogra hot spring region, and also the Depsang plain. So these are the areas we are having the concern, and some of the territory in the occupation of China. So we are having this dispute. That is the reason why we came together and we wanted to contain the aggressive rise of some countries, but we are not saying it openly. Now the point is, okay, India wanted to have this grouping and India wanted to be a net security provider. India wanted to contain the dominance of one country or one group in the international water. That's fine. But now the point is, India is having its own concerns with this Quad group. So though we are not saying openly, the international world is looking this Quad as an anti-China. But in that process, India is having its own concern because it cannot move like as aggressive as Japan or Australia or the America. Because the point is, what is the India's capacity or capability as a military power? That is the thing. So military power, what are all capabilities? Because you need to protect your own coastal lines, your own territorial waters. You need to protect yourself from the China and Pakistan. So how can you will be the net security provider, and how can you really having a military contact with these countries? So you need to fulfill your thing first, because you have lot of responsibility to do that, and then only you can go for the other. So that is the first thing you need to understand. Second one is, India is maintaining a position like we are not forming any military alliances. We maintain strategic autonomy. So we are not going to autonomy. So we are not going to join with any hands with militarily, because even in the Cold War era also we haven't joined hands with any other. We have maintained some defense relations, we have imported, we have that, but we are not part of that military groupings, and we don't want to be part of any military groupings, but we are ready to make any defense deals. So then how, if India is maintaining this position, how it really succeeded in the Quad group? Because on the one hand you are saying like a military relations I will maintain, but on the other hand you are saying I don't want to be an alliance partner of your military group. So this is something problem with the India. Next, the another important thing is the proximity to China. See, the countries which you have discussed just now, whether it is America or whether it is Japan or whether it is Australia, these are not geographically proximate to the China. They are not close, but you are having the border. You need to deal these things in a different manner. You are not something like the Australia, Japan. They don't have any geographical connectivity. So when you have the geographical proximity to China, then definitely you have to be very careful, because suddenly we don't know the reasons, but China has started attacking the northern borders, like here in this part. They have started occupying some territory. Why they have entered? Maybe there is an apprehension like India is increasing its infrastructure on the defense. Maybe India is now grouping against China with international countries. That means other grouping. And when you go for that grouping, this will actually this will create some sort of sense to the China that China may occupy, China can enter. So the point is, when you are having a border disputes, and that too when you are having a huge trade relation, and that means you are importing a lot of things, and also you are having investment things, and moreover you are having geographical proximity, you need to dealt or you need to deal in a different manner. You cannot say like, okay, I can ignore China. You cannot ignore China. Maybe some countries may ignore China, but because of these trade relations, investment relations, and also geographical proximity, that too a disputed land boundary is there, you have to deal separately. You cannot go like the other countries and you cannot completely ignore it. That is the reason why we have concluded, and that too we are the part of BRICS, we are part of Shanghai Cooperation Organizations. So we are maintaining our relations in another forum. You continue that relations. That is why there are informal summits happen like Wuhan and Mamallapuram. And we don't know the spirit of this Wuhan and Mamallapuram, but we have engaged in China in a different way. So that is what we need to do. So these are the things like your own capacities, and also the point is the geographical proximity with respect to the China, and also the traditional principle of India, like they don't want to join as a part of any military alliance. That is going to create problem for the India to join perfectly with the Quad. And whatever the agreements or whatever the joinings that we are now doing, it is only the agreemental thing, but this is not something like a complete alliance. So these will act as something, a block for the India's entry into this Quad group. But nowadays Quad group is something focusing, and again in the year 2015 Japan has joined in this Malabar exercises. And if you see the 2020 Malabar exercise, the countries like US, India there, and Japan has already joined in 2015. So Japan is a member, and this year Australia is also joined. Now the 4 Quad countries have joined in the Malabar exercise, and they have conducted the exercise on western part of India and also eastern part of India. So this is a group, but still you are saying we are not targeting any country, we are not going to have a military alliance. And if you don't have this military alliance, maybe this is just a naval exercise, you no need to worry about these exercises. But the point is, when you are not doing these military alliances, how you are going to take your role in this Quad group, and how you will contain that. And that too, if you start observing the recent summits of the Quad, now they are taking a responsible position in the globe. They are not just speaking about the Indo-Pacific, freedom of navigation of Indo-Pacific, but they are talking about climate change, they are talking about some COVID-19 pandemic, they are also talking about some of the global issues. Now apart from that, there was a question asked in the year 2020 mains, like Quad group is now becoming a trade bloc. So now you need to write the answer to the trade bloc, because till now what we have discussed, it is something only about the strategic importance of the Quad and how the Quad people want to maintain some sort of openness and contain some aggressive countries. But how this Quad is going to become a trade bloc, so you need to understand that. And for that I will give some points so that you can understand how it can become a trade bloc and how it is becoming the trade bloc. Now the first one is, during the COVID-19 pandemic, India has supplied medicines and also medicinal equipments like some testing kits and these PPE kits, and also some of the tools. So that means we are assisting everything, and whatever, this is not a grant, but this is some sort of trade relation. And as a group we don't have anything, but individually India is maintaining trade relations with every country, and we are also having some strategic partnerships with these countries also. So the medicinal access, medicinal equipment is also started. Now when it comes to the trade war, so the trade war is happening to United States of America and also Australia with respect to China. When this trade war happens with respect to China, then definitely there is an every chance like the trade will be diversified into the other countries, and as a partner we can utilize that. Now the Japan and India can take an advantage, even Australia can take an advantage of that, and this trade war may strengthen the Quad group in terms of trade, not only in terms of other strategic things. Okay, this is trade. Next, third one is the Indo-Pacific Economic Corridor. That means America wanted to develop an Indo-Pacific Economic Corridor. Definitely when America want to do something in Indo-Pacific, they will go with this Quad group, because this is the group that promoted by United States of America. And actually when it comes to this promotion of this group, initially it was promoted by the Japan Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in the year 2007. In the year 2007, when Shinzo Abe was actually made his speech in Indian Parliament, he said like the synergy between India and Pacific. India, that means Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean must be strengthened. This is how the idea was mooted, but it was in dormant stage. But again in the year 2017, the same Shinzo Abe promoted like we need, now the time has ripened, like we four countries has to come together to form a group in order to protect the freedoms in the Indo-Pacific region. So that is how they have started. Now the Japan is promoting an Asia Africa economic corridor in retaliation to this Belt and Road Initiative. So Japan, with the help of other countries, they wanted to promote an Asia Africa corridor, like in competition to the Chinese one. So Japan is promoting and India is part of that, and it is in very initial stage. Now it can include Australia and America also. So that means with these two things they can again become, they can have their own participation in the trade and investment. Okay, so now they can become. Next, the another important is the Blue Dot Network. So what is this Blue Dot Network? This Blue Dot Network is the United States of America's USA's initiative. This is not a thing like it is not going to provide any financial assistance for the developmental projects, but the BDN would not offer public funds or loans for the project. It serves as a globally recognized seal of approval for major infrastructural projects, letting the people know the projects are sustainable or not exploitative. So it is something like a consultative thing. It will give you information, the investments which are coming into your country, whether they are exploitative or whether they are sustainable or not. Does it lead to the bankruptcy of your country or not? That type of information they are going to provide it. But anyhow, it is a multi-stakeholder initiative to bring together the governments, private sector and civil society to promote high quality trusted standards for global infrastructure. Now they are deciding the standards for the global infrastructural thing, but over a period of time, definitely if we came together, we don't know what they are going to do, but definitely there is a chance like we may group together in the infrastructural funds, in the infrastructural projects. So that means if you take the case of Blue Dot Network or like Indo-Pacific Economic Corridor or Asia-Africa Economic Corridor or the trade war that USA is having with the China, or the recent whatever the engagement that we have made with during the COVID-19 and even the post-COVID-19, you need multilateralism. You need to strengthen the global supply chains. So when you need to strengthen the global supply chains and you need to have a multilateralism, definitely one country has to link with the other country. They need to promote the multilateralism. Then only our world growth will come, and that world growth will in turn revive the growth of the many countries. So it will obviously necessary for any country to go for this multilateralism, and this post COVID-19 is also going to create an opportunity for this Quad group to come together to maintain trade relations so that it will become a trade bloc. So this is how you can write what are the previous things that was happened, like various initiatives started and what could be the future prospective and what was we done recently during the COVID-19. So this shows like this Quad group is becoming like a trade bloc also. But apart from this trade bloc, yes, if it is trade we can do, but when we are dealing strategically, we need to be very clear. You need to know our limitations because of geographical proximity and also because of our traditional position, like not being in any group of military alliances, but at the same time you need to strengthen your region, because India need to strengthen in its own region, because regionally we need to be so strong, because China is coming and they are having its own influence in all its neighbors. Now in these circumstances, if you don't focus on your neighbors and if you don't focus on Chinese presence in the neighbor, if you don't deal properly with the China and if you go with the other countries as a region, you may get some problems. So that is the reason why regionally you need to strengthen, and if you want to strengthen regionally, you need to counter the China, you need to go with the China to some extent, you need to have a discussion with the China, you need to maintain some relation to some extent with the China, because that is a necessity, because you cannot change your neighbors. China is your neighbor. So our policy should be some more, I think, nuanced compared to the other countries like Japan Australia and America. So you need to understand this concept as far as Quad is concerned, and Quad as a trade bloc. Nowadays Quad is entering into the other aspects of the international affairs also. Okay, so this is something about Quad and its relation with respect to the net security provider, and Quad as a whole in the Indo-Pacific region, and what are the challenges that India is having to be a perfect member in the Quad. Okay, so this is something about the concept of Indo-Pacific. Okay, thank you.